So let's go ahead and open the record for August 23rd, 2024. And first on the docket, Chris Watts finally.
Oh, y'all, this is Crime Talk, by the way. Go subscribe. His channel's pinned down in the description. Give him a subscribe. What is Chris Watts doing? Something crazy, apparently.
He tells us why he killed his wife, Shanann. But we already knew that, right? That's right. Chris Watts continues to blame everyone but himself for the decision to murder his wife and two young girls back in August of 2018.
Oh, hell.
Now, some letters from Chris Watts have been revealed, and he labeled his then pregnant wife as a control freak and claimed that he sought refuge with his mistress, who was everything my wife wasn't. So these handwritten notes are from Watts, who is serving a life sentence in a cell in the Dodge Correctional Institution in Wisconsin. Now, yes, you may say,
Wisconsin. Desiree, thank you for the cash app. Thank you for supporting the channel. Cheers to that one. Might have to go get another gin and tonic, y'all. What do you think?
how did he get to Wisconsin? Well, Colorado, we didn't want him anymore. No, they transferred him out like they do lots of high-profile people and put him in another jurisdiction because we all know they were committed just up the road here from the Crime Talk studios. So now, as you know, Watts pled guilty. I know a lot of people, there's still a lot of people that don't believe that Chris Watts is guilty. He pled guilty, ladies and gentlemen. And don't say,
what?
Oh, Scott, you know people plead guilty all the time. Not to...
Who thinks Chris Watts isn't guilty? Everybody thinks other people could potentially be guilty also, but I don't think people think he isn't guilty.
Wife and two young children and your...
What do y'all think?
Unborn child. Yeah, no, people don't do that. Anyway, he admitted to wife Shanann, who was 34 at the time, at their home back on August 13th of 2018. Damn. He then drove her body to a job site at an oil company where he was working and dumped her in a shallow grave. His daughters, by his own statement, still being alive, Bella, who was 4 at the time, and Celeste, who was only 3 at the time, put him in the truck. And then it gets a little weird, but he basically, 2 little girls, ages 4 and 3, shoved them into an oil tank with crude oil so their little bodies could fill up with that crude oil.
Yeah, you're going to burn in hell for that one.
In them as they were basically disposed of like garbage. And we have a video where we literally travel the route that he traveled, and there were so many hospitals, fire departments, banks, businesses, anywhere where he could have stopped and said, kids, get out. But he didn't. We knew that Chris Watts wanted to be with his then mistress, Nicole Kessinger, who claims that she did not know that Chris was married. He thought that...
You what?
He was separated from his wife, but obviously he wanted to be with her.
Didn't she like Google her name? Isn't that real life? Like she Googled her name like a year or something before that.
So what's the easy thing to do? That's right. Just kill the wife and no one's going to notice, right? Of course they will. Anyway, like I said, he pled guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Good. Adios.
And these letters were shared by a guy that was in a cell next to Chris Watts, a guy by the name of Dylan Talman. He was a fellow prisoner up there in Wisconsin, and he became friends with Chris Watts. Now, Talman is trying to monetize his brief relationship with Mr. Watts, and I guess it's working. Anyway.
Oh, man.
These two men apparently became close while in prison, but Watts at some point reneged.
Oh, God. Hopefully that dude didn't watch the last video.
On his commitment to co-write a prayer book. And then Talman then released a series of 3.
What? You want to co-write a prayer book with Chris Watts?
How dare you?
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Books titled The Cell Next Door. Now, according to the letters, Watts confided to Mr. Talman that his marriage to Shanann was unhappy. She was really busy with her job and everything.
Oh, no. So you get a divorce. You crazy.
Everything it required, according to Watts. And
everything it required? What, you being a decent human being? Loving your family? Loving your kids? Providing for them? Protecting them? Oh, man, it was so hard. It was so hard. Man, Chris Watts pisses me off. This dude sucks.
Adding that he often was the primary caregiver to his 2 daughters.
Oh, no.
Because we know that she was quite driven and she was selling stuff vitamins or whatever it was. And let's face it, this guy was just kind of going through life, just passing it by. And well, if she's going to have to go out and be the breadwinner, yeah, you're going to have to watch the kids, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, at some point,
even if you are the breadwinner, you spend time with your damn kids. Even if you're the breadwinner, you spend time with your damn kids. At least in my book.
Watts lost a bunch of weight, thought that women were trying to pay attention to him, and next thing you know, he meets Nicole Kessinger, who he worked with. According to Mr. Watts, she was just everything my wife wasn't like with me. She was just nice and not a control freak. We could make decisions together. Well,
man, you sound crazy as hell.
Chris Watts obviously made the decision that destroyed his life and that of his wife and 2 young children and unborn child. There's a decision for you, Chris,
Eric,
that you made
exactly.
yourself. Anyway,
Eric said, I'm the breadwinner, sole income. I cannot wait to go home to my girls. Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what good people do.
according to Chris Watts, we knew.
And nowadays, you're lucky if one of the parents can stay home with the kids. My God, nowadays, everybody's got to have 14 jobs. It's crazy as hell. Most people, they got to work a job. They got another job. And then they got to do like Uber Eats or freaking DoorDash for like 17 hours a week. It's crazy as hell.
Knew each other for a while, but we
Oh, thank you, Dylan. Thank you.
didn't start messing
Miller, thank you.
around until 6 weeks before. And he apparently wasn't thinking. That's right. He was thinking with something, but not his head. Anybody, like they said, they worked together and just thought they really had a lot of chemistry.
Palm 3, thank you.
And
DDZ,
the
thank you.
temptation was so great. It was forbidden fruit, according to Watts. But Mr.
Eric, yeah, exactly. That's good.
Watts also had some harsh words for Nicole Kessinger, who he told Mr. Talman, the cell next door guy, that she became the death of me. And in one letter previously posted out there, he had called her a Harlow and a Jezebel, and it led to his destruction. So that was a letter dated back in March of 2020. Watts wrote a prayer of confession. The words of a Harlow have brought me low, he wrote.
Oh, Lord have mercy. You sound crazy as hell not taking responsibility or accountability for that.
Her flattering speech was like drops of honey that pierced my heart and soul. Little did I know that all her guests were in the chambers of... There you
They were in the chambers, all right. You crazy son of a...
go, ladies and gentlemen. For all the people who think Chris Watts should try to withdraw his guilty pleas, that's never going to happen. But people have tried. They've thought about it. Hell, we've even got calls about it. But the reality of it is it's not going to happen. And when you say that you confess to it, right, all those statements come in. Even if they did, guess what? His own statements would come back to get him. It's never going to happen. But at least we know he is as despicable as we all thought.